2 hours later.
Oh man, I cannot wait for the next one. How cool would it be to be Star-Lord? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is directed by James Gunn, who also directed the first very successful Guardians of the Galaxy. I remember back when they first showed concept art for the Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who they were, and only the small fan base that did know were really excited for it. Most everyone else were just confused as why Marvel was doing this project and if they were going to tank what they had already been doing. That's obviously not what happened. Guardians ended up being one of the most successful Marvel movies, and now we have its sequel that's centered around Peter Quill and who his parents are, not just his mother but also his father. We also get a closer look at some of the relationships between Gamora and Nebula's characters, between Rocket and Groot, Yondu. There's a lot of backstory given to these characters and a lot more explained as to why these characters are doing what they're doing now. James Gunn had gone on record for the first Guardians of the Galaxy saying that it was supposed to be centered a little bit more on the relationships with moms. With the sequel, he planned on focusing more on the father and son relationship, and that's what they're able to do really well with this movie. Star-Lord's father being played by Kurt Russell, excellently by the way. Kurt Russell is just a national treasure. He came in and he nailed his part. He had great dialogue and he had really great moments with Chris Pratt's character. You also get a really more in-depth look at Yondu's character and really what happened with him and what brought him to be where he was at this point. Michael Rooker did a phenomenal job acting this part and playing this character in this movie. He had a lot more story to sink his teeth into, and I think that he really nailed it. The film absolutely keeps all of its humor beats that it had from the first movie. It's going to be funny throughout, but there is some parts about that humor that tends to make the movie a little bit less of what the original was. While a lot of the humor did stick and was really funny, sometimes when the humor came in, it did kind of detract us from an emotional moment in the movie. Plus, you have to know when a joke doesn't work or when you have to end a joke, and with Guardians 2, it feels like there were some that just weren't working, that the movie kept bringing back into the story. All of the performances were really great, except for possibly Nebula, who I feel is a little bit more cheesy in her dialogue. As well, Marvel tends to have a problem with their villains, and they do in this film as well. They're very underused, there really is nothing to them, and they don't serve a lot of story to this film, really just to set up for the next movie, and that bothered me a little bit. Come on, Marvel, get on your A game for villains. I'm really nervous for Infinity War if you can't get a basic villain down except for Loki. And I have to mention how great the special effects are in this movie. They do a great job with the de-aging technology that they used. They were able to do that with Kurt Russell in the beginning, and it looks really, really good. Look out for that. That's why we have to talk about Baby Groot, because Baby Groot, I was worried maybe they were going to use too much of him in this movie. It might get a little bit tired, but not at all. Baby Groot is awesome. I wouldn't say that this is better than the first movie. That first movie is just lightning in a bottle with how spectacular it was. And I think when you leave the theater, you're going to notice some of those emotionally impactful moments that the first film had, they undercut in the second film with humor and jokes that just tend to not work when you're dealing with emotional moments like that. But overall, I had a great time watching Guardians Volume 2. It's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of humor. Go check it out. I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 a 7 out of 10. So guys, tell me what you thought about the movie, whatever you thought. Leave a comment down below. Who's your favorite character of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and what was your favorite part of the second? Make sure to check out my Patreon account that I've linked in the description below. Thank you again as always for watching, and I will see you at the next review.